The Nerd Chat, an Xbox podcast.
Is a podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, and the good old days. Hosted by three BFFs, DaddyDWALLY, Chipotle Bear, and Bubble Boy and Seven.
And new intern, XbacongamN.
This is Cortana. And remember, don't make a girl a promise if you know you can't keep it. As always, Spartans, see you online.
Oh, hello. DaddyDWALLY here, and welcome to The Nerd Chat, an Xbox podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, and the good old days. Joining me, as always, is the co-host and puppet master, Chipotle Bear. Chipotle Bear, how are you?
I'm tired, man.
Yeah,
it's been quite the week, but I've got a little bit of gaming time in, so I'm excited to chat about that, and of course, excited for spooky season and all the things to come. But happy to be here, man.
Yeah, I had a very difficult week of work, and it sucks.
Amen.
So I'm glad you're here, though, and just be like me, Jose, and get 2 bags of gummies, sour bears, and Trolley sour bright crawlers. This will get you pepped up and ready to go for the show. So
this man wonders why he has like stomach problems.
You gotta tell him about that text I sent you earlier.
Oh God.
My gosh,
story for another day.
We'll maybe have to read that later. And joining us as always is the co-host with the most. He loves to keep it a Honda, as he likes to say.
A buck. Honda.
XbacongamN. How are you?
So, do either of you boys ever do yoga?
No.
I have done yoga in my life. I like yoga, but I haven't done it recently.
I just put brakes on on Deja Vu's car, and my sciatica's acting up. And I was limping around on my dog walk, and the wife made me do some yoga when I got home before the show. Almost cleared it right up. It's amazing.
I love yoga, but it's
yoga
great.
fixes everything.
Okay,
not ready to admit
that far, but I do like yoga.
Fixes a lot.
Calms.
You're good.
Well, Bacon, when you're as flexible as me, you don't even have.
You are an Adonis, so. And the Denver Broncos got to win. So,
oh my gosh! Shout out to the Denver Broncos. How could we not forget the incredible performance against the 0-4 Chicago Bears? We are not the worst team in the NFL, believe it or not. And like I've been texting the guys, Russ has been cooking, you guys. The 3rd best quarterback in all of the lands, tearing it up. I told you he is not the problem. It is our caca defense, but we don't need to talk about that horrible Broncos football team. So let's move on to Nerd Chat. Shout outs, Jose. BIGBOX returns. He is back. Thank you, BIGBOX. We have missed you. BIGBOX writes in, Nerd Chat. I just picked up Cyberpunk 2.0, so now I'm a net runner who can get past YouTube's weird comment algorithm. Cross his fingers. I'm going to use my Contagion quick hack on XbacongamN for the madness he uttered last week, specifically for what he said at the 2650 mark. I think it's his, Jim Ryan, reluctance to embrace where gaming is going. The biggest revenue sector in all of core gaming is live service. The fastest growing revenue sector in all. Did he write that twice? He did. Jim Ryan's aggressive pivot towards live service is a bold bet on the future of the medium. He's also on record saying all of PlayStation's live service games will launch day and date on PC. And he's done more to bring single-player games to PC than any other or any prior PlayStation CEO. I understand believing him may be a small amount of money on the table by forcing PC players to wait a few months on exclusives, but PlayStation's future is overwhelmingly riding on the live service pivot, not this slightly annoying port issue. Defend yourself, Bacon, lest you receive another contagion quick hack from me. I'm currently hiding behind a barrel with more RAM to spare. Another great show, boys. Bacon, defend yourselves because he's quick hacking you, hiding in the corners. He's got the RAM. He's hacked in right now. Defend yourself.
So, first off, Big Box, thanks for getting through to us again. We've missed you these last few weeks. So, we can all agree in this group and Big Box that Sony makes very good single player games. Story driven, narrative driven, over the shoulder.
Slight RPG tactic elements.
That is how
combat, bow and arrows.
Yes,
climbing.
Lots of shimmying, climbing.
Yes, going through
cut
small
scenes. Just hit square.
Maybe there's another child or adult involved. Emotional.
Could be.
Okay.
Do they use dogs ever? I can't remember. Anyways, that is how Sony has gotten into their position that they're at right now, being the overwhelming market leader in this sector. Their pivot.
Wait. I got to push back right there, Bacon. Is it really, do you think, the exclusives that pushed them into their position, or rather that in combination with the heinous Xbox One launch, the terrible marketing, it becoming the de facto just, I want a great next gen system for cheap. I think there's more to that than it actually is their exclusives, because we all know how many percentage of PlayStation players actually play these exclusives. So I think it's more
it's about
mistakes
10%.
made.
But when you look at Spider-Man selling 20 million, God of War 2018 selling 18 million, their single player games are what drives that company. Now their popularity and having so many consoles in the wild, which allow for all the FIFA microtransactions, all the Call of Duty microtransactions, all the Madden microtransactions, all that stuff really is the lifeblood of that organization. That's where they make all their money, is with their microtransactions, because a company that has 140 million PS4s in the wild only selling 18 million for God of War. My crux to this is, again, I argue that console and PC are two different sectors. They're not even, I'm not asking them to put their games on Xbox. I'm asking them to go day and date on PC while the games are still hot, while the review scores are still up. So I don't know if it's because they don't want to be embarrassed because PC is going to outperform the PS5. I don't know. I don't get their reluctance. The only company that can get away with this is Nintendo. Their single player games on their hardware, they're the only ones that can continue to do this. And the reason, and the fact that he continues to drag his feet with the implementation of their subscription service, and I used air quotes, both of them, a subscription service. I still don't understand why they're not embracing that model like everybody else.
Isn't Big Box arguing that they are taking the
he's putting his he's arguing for a live service, not for
and I haven't even gotten to that aspect yet. And it came out from Schreier this week that pretty much every PlayStation studio is uncomfortable, and they've all come out and said they are uncomfortable with this pivot. They're uncomfortable. Look how hard it is for a franchise like Halo that's been around as long as it has, and the launch of Halo and their live service for this iteration. How long has it taken for Halo to be where it's at right now? Is it 2 years? Is that how long we've been sitting on Halo?
Almost, yes.
2009.
Almost. Yes. And it's taken them this long, 4 battle passes now, to get Halo in a state where it's like, Halo's great.
But I would argue that everyone forgets the first 3 months of Halo Infinite's launch was spectacular. People were loving that game. Everybody loved Halo Infinite
because it launched with the content, and then when the content dried, and we had that summer update or whatever that had like the 10 fate, and then they extended some of the battle passes like 90 days. That's when the game, and that's the whole live service element. They could not meet demand to meet their battle pass schedule and their map upload schedule and stuff like that. And Halo's been around for a really long time. They've made multiplayer for a really long time. So you're asking Naughty Dog to come out and make a thriving games as a service might not be easy for them, man. In the news today, or in our docket, we'll talk about the layoffs that happened at Naughty Dog. And I think Jade Raymond's studio was also working on another live service, and that one's also been canceled. So out of their 10 projects now, what are we down to 8? And if maybe one of them hits, but I think Sony should continue to rely on third parties to do their live service and get their microtransactions, just because that's what other third parties are good at. That's what your EAs are good at. That's what your Microsoft is going to be good at with Call of Duty, and continue to drive that way while continuing to feed your loyal fan base their cinematic, cutscene driven, can't skip the cutscenes games that they've come to love. And I think that I feel like they're abandoning their base consumer really big time with this move.
And that's what I wanted to say, Bacon, is like I don't think they're, like you said, their core audience who has been supporting them for those first party studios. I don't think they're the ones that are what Sony's going after in the future.
They're not.
Like that, like, and to be fair, like, do they really matter? Like, I feel like we always come back to this. PlayStation is the Apple of consoles. It's the convenient, high-end a console that your parents can use, you know, like an iPhone. Like it's just it's got this reputation, but I don't think they really I don't think they care about that audience. And I hate saying that, but I mean, the proof is in the pudding, like you said, with where they're going. And we're going to see one first party Sony game this year. And again, what is it? Spider-Man, a massively popular superhero game. So
third one in 5 years also.
It is concerning. I'm not gonna lie, where Sony's heading. And I honestly, it's taken time and we still have to wait. We still have to see, but I really think for once, and we've talked about this too, Xbox is in a great position. They really are, especially once they get, by the way, when's this ABK deal supposed to be done, Bacon?
We're supposed to get the clearance, the final report tomorrow, the 6th, right? Yes, from the CMA.
When was the extension until? Like the
18th. That's the hard stop. What's going around today is they're going to get the final report tomorrow, and then they're going to close it Monday.
So what's crazy is that now Xbox will have Activision. They will have Call of Duty. Bye-bye, Sony, marketing with Call of Duty, unless Sony wants to pay an insane amount of money, which they could do, but I think that would be dumb. And what are you going to see at Call of Duty next? That was today. You're not going to see those PlayStation controllers anymore. You're going to be seeing Xbox controllers. You're going to see Xbox. They are going to be hitting that casual audience. They are going to be hitting the hardcore with these Bethesda games and some of these Xbox first party games, and they are going to have content. Most importantly, and remember, Bacon, going back to the solo cast, is Xbox Game Pass the next Netflix, for better or worse? They are actually doing the right thing by taking content and bringing it in house, unlike Netflix before, which was so dependent on everyone else, and now everyone else has their content as their own streaming service. Now Xbox is going to control some of the biggest IP in the world, which is crazy. Jose,
but real quick.
No, wait, let's go to Jose. He hasn't had a chance to talk.
I want to add one thing to Big Box and think about the company that has made all this possible with Fortnite just laid off almost half their staff. They make more money than anybody in live service, and they just had to cut. The guillotine came down. So making live service is hard. That's just what I want to end with.
Jose, your thoughts on Big Box's comments?
I don't have a lot more to add, honestly, and a lot of it is the same stuff I said last week. But basically, I do think that Jim Ryan did a lot for Sony. I know. I was listening to Bitcast while I was cooking dinner tonight, and shout out to like Ains and Travis, and they were talking about part of what we complain about is that Jim was not. He was not the consummate gamer that some of the other leaders of both Sony and Xbox have been. And so he gets a lot of flack for that, but that doesn't mean he's not a good businessman. And I also certainly hope that, I hope Sony does well. Like I said that last week, I don't want Sony to fail. I don't want PlayStation to be terrible, because if they become terrible and Xbox is this market leader, then we rest on our laurels, right? Then we don't improve. Then we're not growing. You need that competition so that you can push things forward. And a lot of my friends are PlayStation gamers. Like, I don't wish them ill. Like, I want them to enjoy their system. I'm excited for Spider-Man, even though I don't have a PS5. Like, I want like our friends over at the trophy room, like they're pumped. I want Joe and Kyle to have a great game. I do worry a tiny bit. Now, I also wonder, in terms of Big Box's question, like, did Jim know that he was going to retire here in the fall? And maybe that's why he didn't push as hard on some of these things, right? Because he says like, hey, I think I'm going to kind of call it quits. I don't want to start all these endeavors, maybe with that PC port like Bacon was talking about, and then I'm going to dip and it's someone else's problem. He also could be kind of lining it up for whoever, Totoki is short term, I know right now, but like maybe he's trying to set him up so he can do something like that as well. I certainly agree that it would be nice if they were all in PC stuff. Like I know that's a conversation for another day for us here on the Nerd Chat, but like I've thought about the PC thing. I have a couple other reservations that would have to be addressed before I go that route, but that would certainly help, right? Like if I truly could go PC, get day and date PlayStation games, day and date Xbox games, and who knows, maybe one day those Nintendo games, right, they would fall through. I would certainly be open to that protocol, right? Like for now, I'm very happy in Xbox land and of course barring PlayStations when I need to, but in the end, man, I wish Jim well. I certainly hope PlayStation figures things out. And I actually agree 100% with Bacon. Going into that live realm is really hard, especially because while it is the world's leading like sector right now, it's also very full. It's not like there's a lot of openings in that
There's
sector.
only so much time, right, Jose, with all these games?
I mean, there's only so much time, dude. And like truly the reality of like the average person getting into more than like maybe 2 live service games is unlikely. Because even we've talked about many times, people that play games for specifically like NBA 2K, Madden, FIFA, they don't play other games. Those are the games they play. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about the third party ones. And I do agree it would be really unfortunate if PlayStation abandoned some of their really great IPs like God of War, like Spider-Man, because they are cool games. You know what I'm saying? Just because I didn't play them on day one doesn't mean I don't want to play them or that they're not worth their time. But that's scary, man, because if they're only focused on the money, they're only going to focus on games like Madden and 2K and stuff. So we'll see, man. I don't know if now 10 years down the road, Sony is really going to stick with that like 10 live service model. They might, but they might also shift a little bit if they get some new leadership. We'll see. So certainly wish them the best.
Big Box, thank you so much for writing in. We really do appreciate your thoughtful comments as always. And I just want to say this, Big Box, I'm excited because we don't know what Sony's next move is, and that's exciting. We don't know what their next games are. They've been too sad. They got to start making some.
They did not
here.
leak their roadmap for the next 10 years.
We know what's coming from some of Xbox, so which is exciting too. But it's going to be very interesting to see this whole layout change potentially with the Activision Blizzard King, Xbox, Bethesda firing on full cylinders. Hopefully all these acquisitions that Xbox has gotten start producing more. So I'm excited, and man, I just can't imagine what next gen is going to be like. So great question, Big Box. Thank you so much. Let's jump into some Xbox news for the week, Jose.
News team, assemble!
News item number 1, of course, on Windows Central, where I'm just getting bombarded with pop-up ads every 2 seconds. Microsoft is officially the best company in the world to work for, at least according to Time. And this is coming from Kevin Okemwa. Microsoft is at top of the game when it comes to employee satisfaction and other metrics. Okay, we all know... we have to clarify this. XbacongamN is a Microsoft shareholder. He put this in here. He's also a Activision Blizzard King.
A plant.
Okay, so we're just going to let everyone know, put that out there. So Bacon, you put this article in here. Take it away. What did you want to talk about?
Well, I just think it's cool. It's all the work and all the flack they get and all the scrutiny from regulators and all that, and their internal employee survey has come back to score 96.46 out of a possible 100. Now, I just did my employee survey for my employer, and I was not as kind as Microsoft's employees. I just did mine 2 weeks ago. I was not very nice with some implementations we've done. Now, I find it hard to believe that if we had any angry employees that they would just give Microsoft a great review on their internal. Maybe there's 4% there. So I just think it's cool. They allow unions, first video game company to allow the devs to unionize. There's so much that Microsoft does correct. They still just get so much heat from their, all their antitrust stuff from the 80s or 90s when they were getting fined heavily. And and I'm sure it's a long road to come back to recover any bad blood or any misconceptions that people have made. It's just like politics. It takes a long time for people to change their minds about something. But as far as them taking on 10,000 more employees from ABK, it appears as if at least 96.64% of those employees are going to be happy with this acquisition. So,
Jose,
Go
any
Microsoft.
thoughts on Microsoft? What do you think of these satisfaction surveys and all that?
I mean, I'm a big fan of data, right? I do think that metrics are important, and I do think that I obviously don't know the specific metrics of how Microsoft conducts this. I would assume and presume this is an anonymous survey, though I guess it certainly doesn't have to be. I think that would obviously change outcomes if it was. But I do applaud companies for doing this, because I would be willing to bet, man, especially if it's done well, which means it's anonymous and all that kind of stuff, that you would get a lot of just really like crappy feedback. And I can tell you this with a little asterisk here, like moving into leadership in my own job and working on this kind of stuff, really with the goal of like, I want to support our teachers. I want to support our school. I want to make things better. So tell me where we can be better. You get a lot of people who do say really positive things, who do give really great feedback. And I'm sure they got the same thing. You also get people who just want to complain. And there's a reason for that. There's like, that's not bad. But it can be hard, right? And I would only imagine like Microsoft being a massive company, like the amount of feedback they got. So the fact that they scored a 96.46 out of a possible 100 that's pretty notable, man. Right? I don't know if there's a lot of companies, even small ones, that would necessarily get that from their employees, especially if it was anonymous. So considering some of the recent history, they were talking about how in this article, they said back in June, there were some issues that they expected from their employees, saying things like the change in leadership, the change in compensation packages, like there was actually kind of a low morale. So for them to do from June to this now in basically September, good for them, man. I'm happy for them. And, I'm not certainly leaving my job anytime soon to go to Microsoft. But again, it's one of those like, this isn't technically Xbox, even though they're obviously very closely associated. But ultimately, like if they're doing the right thing, that means they're getting the right people. And if they're getting the right people, that means great things for us as Xbox fans. So huge shout out to them. Obviously they beat my baby's Apple as well, which is great. You know what I'm saying? Happy for them in that front as well, even though the Surface 2's not near where it should be. But that's okay. Things to work for. Otherwise, happy for him, man.
Congratulations, Microsoft, for being one of the best places to work at. That is nice to hear, and it is a compliment. And like you said, some of it does trickle down to Xbox. So I know Playground Games was highly rated. I remember seeing something on Twitter about them being one of the best places in the UK to work, along with like Rare and stuff like that. So congratulations to Microsoft leadership and old Satya Nadella doing a bang up job over there, right, Jose?
Absolutely. And you also imagine that, like, imagine what this means for things like Activision Blizzard, right? Like that was a big contentious issue as they came into this scene. Obviously, as this deal closes here in October and they move into like actually acquiring those companies, that could mean really great things for those businesses, for those workers, right?
Or cuts.
It could too, right? Both are certainly outcomes. But again, I think just knowing that the parent company, Microsoft, is doing everything it can to make work experience best for their employees, there's some level of that will trickle down, I hope. So I think that's exciting as well.
And speaking of one of the best places to work to being laid off at,
the Nerd Chat.
Great place to work. News story number 2, and Bacon alluded to it earlier. And in our notes, I wrote in parentheses, layoffs at Naughty Dog, because people were making a big deal out of this. I don't think it's as big of a deal as Bacon and the internet is making it out to be, but let's get to it. Last of Us studio Naughty Dog is cutting developers. The PlayStation first-party studio behind Uncharted and The Last of Us Part 2 and Part 1, and all these other games, is laying off only dozens of contractors, okay? So the sources, this is coming from Ethan Gach over at Kotaku. A majority of those laid off worked in quality assurance testing, and the sources said at least 25 developers were part of the downsizing. And then the biggest point here that I pointed out to Bacon, full-time staff members of Naughty Dog do not appear to have been a part of the cuts. Naughty Dog's head cut was over 400 as of July. And then I think also in here, does it mention about the multiplayer project? Is that sentence in here
The
about it
game that's
being
been put on ice.
been put on ice? All right, Bacon, I know you're eager to talk about this. Why is this a big deal? Because I would argue, you know what, the multiplayer thing, it's not working out. I still think we're gonna see some version of this, not the live service original vision, but maybe a multiplayer mode in part 3 or a part 2 remake. Of course, they're gonna have to milk us on that again. So I still think we're gonna see something from this, and I don't think it's that big. I mean, 25 people that were contractors out of the 400 at the studio. Bacon, tell me why this is such a big deal and had the internet just freaking out about it.
It's not the 25 devs being laid off was my concern. And part of that whole story that I sent you was, of course, the factions being put on ice. And I believe Schreier's the one that broke this one also, and he's never wrong.
No, I thought Kotaku was the first to break this. That's why I wanted
Was
to
it?
specifically go to them. So
Okay,
sorry, go
it
ahead.
might have been them. I saw it from Schreier because I'm pretty sure that's that tweet I sent you guys. But
Yeah.
they're in a rock and a hard place with this game because they cut it from the remake and didn't give it to us like the first game was included. Remake comes out at $70, higher price. This game gets cut. So this mode gets cut. So we paid $70 for a game with less content. And I said this was a big point of contention when the remake came out. Now the remake was awesome. That game was fantastic. Don't get me wrong with that. And would this really be a multiplayer game I would play? Probably not, because unless they did stuff with the shooting mechanics, that because the game itself, I didn't care for its mechanics. It was more of the story that was great. So with them cutting QA, so the guys that are testing the game, telling them if there's issues, testing them. So are they just done testing the game and they're going to put it out to pasture, or are they going to release it and charge $10 as an add-on for the game they've already charged us $70 for? I don't know. It'd be hard to believe they put that kind of money and time and effort into something just to can it and send it down to Davy Jones' locker. So I would assume they're going to release it in some fashion at some point. If it's completely removing battle passes and their effort for the live service, then it is what it is. I still agree with you, Dan, that they will release this in some fashion, just like a hey, cool, here it is. It's reattached to your game originally. I don't know. That's the hope, but they're trying to draw in the PC crowd with this too, because the ultimate goal was live service and reoccurring revenue with it. So it's troubling, and it's strange how quiet Sony is about this issue. And they promised this game was coming after the remake, and it still isn't here. And it's stuff like this coming out about it being, quote, on ice.
Yeah.
That's just not.
And I got to say, I know you saw that tweet by Colt saying, imagine if Halo was this game and it had been
Roasted.
shown and then delayed and then just put on ice like crazy. And it is a little unfair how everyone just seems to be like, oh well, it's okay because Sony gives us these great games, and I get that to an extent. But at the same time, they did tease this game multiple times, and it showed us that picture, and then just disappears. Which I feel like we got to call them out a little bit. Like this is a mistake on Sony's part. But Jose, closing thoughts on this? Do you think this is a big deal, little deal, or no deal at all?
I mean, the layoffs. Again, I like to just a caveat that like any time people are losing their jobs, I don't love that. That sucks. That being said, I think about when we had Ains on the show and he was talking about, he's like, dude, you have to understand, like this happens every year for studios, even Microsoft, because contractors by design are not meant to be long term. And I think it was, maybe it wasn't Ains, I can't remember who was on our show saying that like Microsoft purposefully only hires some contractors for some jobs because then they only can be there like a year. On purpose. So I don't know if that's considered layoffs when that happens. I actually don't know how that works in the business world, but if that's part of this, I mean, like that's not nearly as concerning as if they were just laying people off. As it's tied to the Last of Us project, I do think that's a little bit more concerning in the sense that, like, to me, what that says to me is that they've paused the game for a longer enough period that they don't need quality assurance right now, that they'll hire them again when they need it. But it's kind of like, are you going to pay people every month for a job that literally doesn't exist? No company wants to do that, right? That's a huge waste of resources and money and time for them. So I think the other part that I wonder is like, not that The Last of Us 2 will ever truly lose like hype. People still love that game. Obviously, the show was a huge hit, right? But like, it's kind of in this weird flux right now that like if they were to drop this even as like a $10, $20, $30 add-on, like Bacon said, I don't know if it would do that well. Like it needs to be tied to something, whether that's the third game, whether that's season 2 of the show, whether that's a port to,
or it's got to be some banging free-to-play multiplayer.
Yeah, that's fair. If it's a true live service, free to play, and really amazing, and it's gonna take the holiday season by storm, sure. But I can't imagine that's the case if they're dropping QA testers right now. I imagine more they're gonna wait to release this with 3, and they're just hoping that it's gonna kind of fizzle in terms of like news. Like, yeah, it's the hot news this week, but honestly, it's been a slow news week, right? So like they're hoping that something will take the cake, especially with some new things dropping, Spider-Man, Alan Wake, that kind of stuff, and then it'll just kind of get lost in the ether, and then of course come back down the road. So again, I hope it comes out. Again, I still haven't played Last of Us 1 or 2. I haven't played the games. Right. So, but
I mean,
but
you watched still, Jose. You saw the game.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, you really did.
I did.
Like,
but I still want it to do well. I still want them to round out the trilogy just because I like when games do that, dude. Like that's one of my pet peeves is when games build this dope universe and these super rad characters, and then it's just lost. Like that's a huge bummer. I don't want that for anyone.
I don't know. I haven't played part 2 yet, so I don't know how it ends. I mean, I kind of know how it ends actually, but I guess it's spoiled, but I don't think it was spoiled for me because I actively went out to figure things out. But as far as Naughty Dog goes, they're going to be fine, and I'm sure their next game is going to be great. But at the same time, like they got to move on. Like this
they
has
kind of need a new IP at this point.
They need it. They got to let Uncharted into the ground
a little. Now with Last of Us, they need something.
I need something new. Exactly. Yeah. Not even another Uncharted. Colin on Sacred Symbols has been saying like another studio has been working on an Uncharted spinoff with. I don't want to say it because it's spoilers, but they got to move on. But I do want to call out it is the hypocrisy, guys. When Halo's management of the mismanagement at 343 sucks 34. At least 343 put out a really good game and a really good product there. Okay. And they have been consistently putting something out. And yeah, who knows if we never see this, that is mismanagement at Naughty Dog. And we got to call them out for that. So speaking of mismanagement, another depressing story. I think Bacon put this in as well. News story number 3, all unionized Dragon Age Dreadwolf QA workers have been laid off. The Keyword Studios workers were laid off in late September, and this is coming from Nicole Carpenter over at Polygon. So I mean that's basically the gist of the article. So it's 13 people that were supporting BioWare and QA were laid off. So I'm assuming, Bacon, you put this in here. What
I did, and this isn't a very good article because it doesn't say if anybody else was laid off or only the unionized workers were laid off.
Yeah, that title was very leading.
Say there was 50 layoffs, but only 13 of them were the union guys. That changes everything.
Yeah.
But if it is solely just the 13 developers that were a part of a union that were laid off, I'm not sure that's legal.
I agree.
BioWare has done here. Now, my wife's a big fan of the union. I'm sure, Chipo, you're a big fan of unions. I bet you're both pretty big fans of the unions. If it is in
I'm
fact
not a union member. Disclaimer: I'm not in a union. No.
Okay.
What?
Me either.
I'm not a teacher, so I don't have any reason to be in one.
Fair. You're an at-will employee.
Yes, I did post this, and this is a terrible article, and it almost seems like it's all in caps. But anyways, from what it appears, they basically just took 13, the only 13 employees that were unionized, and laid them off. Now it's a bad day for QA because Sony.
But let's just focus on the main point I think you're trying to make, Bacon, is what is going on with BioWare. and this Dragon Age game. This game,
BioWare in the news.
This is not good, you guys. And the more I see about it, this is not good. And if this game bombs, what's going to happen, Bacon? Microsoft go in, pick them up, right? Because it's Microsoft's job to go, revive everything. No, here's what you do. You don't save the studio. You buy the IP. Okay. And then you give it to somebody else who's going to take good care of it. Can you imagine
bangers,
if
dude.
you owned
Who would
the
do
Mass Effect IP and the Dragon? Those are
Could you
bangers.
imagine if like
slankers.
Blizzard took on Dragon Age with all their Diablo stuff? That could be rad, bud.
Yeah, I could see that. But I mean, I really want to focus on like who could take Mass Effect to the next level.
Yes, that's the important one.
Any closing thoughts on this, Jose, or do you want to move on?
No, I don't have a lot to add. Honestly, just
sorry for those who
bummer.
lost their job, of course.
Yes.
Let's move on to quick news story number 4. Cuphead getting a free update, an Xbox exclusive anniversary update. So that is coming out, and this is coming from Ed Nightingale over at Eurogamer, celebrating the 6th birthday. Kind of a random year to be doing this Xbox exclusive update, but I appreciate it. So this update includes new bonus menu of artwork, music, behind the scenes videos showing never before seen concepts and unused art, as well as the entire Cuphead soundtrack, original sketches, concept art, process footage of paintings or model work, unused music tracks, orchestra session footage, you name it. Studio MDHR co-director Chad Moldenhauer told Xbox Wire in the additions, knowing that we wanted to give our thanks to the Xbox community that has shown us love from day one, we really thought about all the kinds of things we would want to see as fans of Cuphead. The goal was to make the update feel like a real peek behind the scenes at what went into bringing the game to life across all parts of development. So this is a free update for everyone on Xbox who owns the game. It is pretty sweet. I also want to shout out Kind of Funny. They had an interview with the Moldenhauers, the Mr. and Mrs., their husband and wife who created the game, or from Studio MDHR. Great interview. I highly recommend it. If you're a fan of Cuphead, go listen to it. And if you're not a fan of Cuphead, go play Cuphead immediately. One of the best indie and one of the best general games I've played in a while. Love
So
Cuphead.
hard.
Anybody want to add
So
anything
hard,
to this?
dude. That line in here,
It is
a brutal game that's equal
Yeah.
parts frustrating, exhilarating in a mesmerizing style. That is a perfect line to describe that game.
Yeah. So any closing thoughts on this, or should we move on?
I think it's cool, man. I mean, I love when they give stuff for free. I like that the devs are still working on it and they want to share the process. It is weird that they're like, you know, we need big 6th anniversary celebration.
It is weird. But I do appreciate it because they did launch on ID at Xbox, and they said that multiple times in the Intervox. They're like, in the interview with Kind of Funny or the Xcast, they're like, Xbox saw what we were trying to build, and they really respected and appreciated the love that Xbox gave them. So shout out to Xbox for supporting this game. And eventually it did go to it's on every system now, or every console. So they probably could. Well, I'm guessing Studio MDHR locked it. They're like, we don't want to be locked down, but maybe Microsoft could have. So Bacon, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, think of it, the weirdness of the 6 years, and you'd have to assume they're probably close to whatever their follow game would be to this. And
they did the DLC last year, though.
Oh,
yeah, that was just, it takes so long. I don't think we're going to see something for many, many years, because just if they're going to keep doing that art style, it just takes so long to hand draw.
That's the most insane thing about that game is like it literally looks like you're watching a cartoon from the 40s, man. When you're playing, like that's not the cutscenes, like
and it's like only like 2 or 3 people doing the drawings and stuff. Like it's crazy. So shout out to Studio
incredibly difficult game to play. I
didn't
even come close to beating it.
Neither of you beat it. Am I the only one?
You're the only one. I think Bubble Boy did it.
I gamer right here. Me and Bubble Boy, we're the only ones.
You absolutely are.
It's hard, you guys, but if you can do some of the Elden Ring stuff, you could do it. It just takes a little bit of patience and knowing the right runs. Like it really, I did the Delicious Last Course pretty easily, and it was a little difficult at first, but you guys can do it. Yeah. But I do wish the one thing that they never added, and I don't know if they ever promised it or thought about it, online co-op. You could only do the split screen or not split screen, the local co-op. I think it would have been really cool, missed opportunity to have online co-op for that game. But moving on to news story number 5. And speaking of Xbox drip, guys, look at this sick new Halo shirt that I've got. It just says Halo on it out there for all audio listeners. It's in this bright green. And on my left arm here, we've got the Spartan 117. And this is that high
perfect.
Exactly. Xbox. I can't remember who makes it, but I think it's Meta Threads or something. These shirts are just so high quality. But pro tip, pro strat, you gotta hang dry them. You can't put these in the dryer. This starts to wear out on the design, the print on it. So do repeat, hang dry only. Do not put this in the dryer. And the reason I'm talking about this hot Xbox drip is that there's been a new Xbox merch drop, and this hits home for all of us old boomer gamers. We went back to 2007 and brought you something. A new Heritage Collection drop celebrating the Xbox 360 and Halo 3 is available now. And that's coming from the Xbox Twitter, and there's, if you go to the link, it shows a bunch of old Xbox 360, Xbox Live logos, and man, oh man, what I would do to travel back to 2007, boys. So, oh, Jose's got it up on the screen right now. If you are an audio listener, check out the video. Hot Xbox merch, boys.
I wish it was Halo 2 though, bud. Like it would be.
I know. I'm the same way, Jose. Like well, this is 360. It's 360.
Yeah, and I loved Halo 3. I'm not hating on Halo 3.
Yeah, I liked it too, but
2 is in my heart, man.
3 was the Halo where I loved it, but then Call of Duty Modern Warfare came out, and I was like, I'm seeing Halo. It was weird.
Yeah.
I made the switch there, and Halo 2 was just so special. Bacon, are you going to be getting any new merch? Have you checked out anything?
Dude, that Xbox Live T-shirt is so dope.
That's banger, right? Like
it
the original
is.
Xbox
That's
logo.
The one I was like, man, that's so, especially because there's no Xbox Live. Speaking of Xbox Live, you guys, I'm a little concerned. You know how they got rid of it, right? The Xbox Live Gold. If you look on your profiles, everyone has this new banner that says, I've been a member Xbox Live Gold from this to this date.
Is it going to stop?
I don't have that.
The counter stop? Oh,
No. It says the dates of when Xbox Live existed. If you were part of it, I don't have it.
Okay.
I'm looking at all you guys. Everyone has this new additional banner thing on your profile. Where's mine? I'm freaking out, you guys. I think there's a glitch in the system. I don't have mine yet. I still have my 19 years on Xbox Live, Bacon. Yes, that's still there, and I'm proud of that. But holy caca, I just realized 19 years, you guys, on Xbox Live. You're old, bud. My life just flashed before my eyes. Anyway, guys, check out the new merch. I've been going crazy over there. I've gotten a lot of stuff, so check it out. Let's move on.
Xbox Live Gold thing on there now. Yep, there it is.
See, I don't have it. What's going on? I'm freaking out, you guys.
Yeah, it's right next to my 16-year badge.
Yeah, I'm mad that you stacked all those years for so long. They're like, we're not giving him that badge till he pays for it.
Then quick news story number 6: the Forza Motorsport reviews are in, and here's a little short summary. Eurogamer gave it 4 out of 5. Digital Trends 4 out of 5. Games Radar 3.5 out of 5. Gaming Trend 9.5. GameSpot 9 out of 10. Video Gamer 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Game Informer 8.75. IGN only an 8. Press Start 8. Shack News 8. Sixth Axis 8. PC Games N 7. Tech Raptor, I don't know what that is, 5.5. Metacritic 85. OpenCritic, I believe it's up to an 84 now. Whoa, I drafted these guys. I was thinking upper 80s, Bacon. What's going on with these Forza Motorsport reviews? Is this coming in low? I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think? Is this fair? Is this low to you? Or also, I think we should try to get Ains on next week, and so we can talk about his review, and we'll have some time to have played it. So hopefully I'll try to connect with Ains, get him on the show to talk about this. But Bacon, are you a little surprised at these reviews?
I hate to live in the conspiracy land and continue to put on my tinfoil hat for the Xbox hate, but at this point, it's almost like obvious. I know some people are complaining about story progression, that there's not a lot there. It's not like your Forza Horizon where there's all kinds of stuff.
And I hate that. I hate that's being compared to Horizon. I don't think that's fair at all. They're completely different games.
And I know some of these pictures are coming out because I know Destin had an issue with his DVR capture, and it was making all the colors look flat. And I guess the devs got back to him and told him to restart his console, and it fixed everything. I'd have to imagine the people that had this game, as long as they've had it, reviewing it, knew to fix it, and they actually got good footage. Everything I see, the game looks freaking awesome.
And I hear that the racing's really good. Like the actual racing is phenomenal. And
that's what the game is. It's a sim racer.
And I don't know. Some people are complaining about how you have to work your way up. I like that as
what you have to do in it.
And that's what you have to do in Gran
Isn't that
Turismo.
every video game that's ever been made?
What would be the
Well,
fun of
in some of
not
the Forzas, you could get to the like supercars relatively fast. Like this, they definitely make you
okay,
work for
okay.
it more. But keep going.
But I think they've said they're going to release a new map every month. I mean, the plans for the game are going to be great, and I'm sure it's going to look completely awesome on my PC. So I'm not at all concerned about it. I know what I'm getting in a sim racer. It's just like flight simulator. I'm not there to play Maverick and Goose and shoot at things. I'm there to fly a plane and get the feeling of flying a plane. And all the comparisons with Gran Turismo in this, I think that's more of the console wars. And remember when Sony didn't give the reviewers the store purchase items, and they didn't get to see how bad that mechanic was during their review window. So they just all assumed things were hunky-dory roses. But
And speaking
Microsoft,
of bacon, I haven't heard anything about microtransaction in this game. And I remember that was kind of like a problem in the previous
right, that was a big,
yeah.
that was one of the big fears. And I have not heard them to say that they're not going to sell you a paint for $1. I don't know, like a flat paint, whatever. I mean, the thing is, you don't have to pay for microtransactions. It's not a pay to win game. You got to put in the pedal time to get the credits to then buy your next car. And then I know some people were complaining something about how the progression is linked to the car. And you have so much time in that car to then put the upgrades on. I think it was Ains that was actually talking about that on his review, which was a great review, by the way, Ains. So
shout out to Ains. Everyone go check out his review. By the way, I want to say Mr. Maddie and Cog were shouting out Ains' review. So shout out to Ains.
Yeah, it was a really, really well done review. And instead of just having overall progression that you can then add things to every single car, when you reach level 12, you get new shocks for every single car. So I could see that being an annoyance, but it's a game that you're planning on these real sim racer dudes that are going to be playing this game for years.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's not going to concern them, but that's filthy casuals who aren't exactly, crazy race fans. Yeah, it might get annoying, but most of us are going to find a car we love, and we're just going to drive the hell out of that, because it's either
for me,
Huracan, the Lamborghini.
It's either a car we had when we were kids or something like that. That's gonna, I remember playing Matchbox cars with this car, and it's, we're all going to find our little niche and go with it. But I think, and again, we're talking about, is 85 a bad Metacritic score?
No, absolutely not.
In the grand scheme of things, is 85?
No, it really shouldn't matter. But I was expecting a little bit more. I'm not.
I was expecting 90s. I'm not gonna lie, because
90s. I don't know about 90s. I was thinking like upper 80s. I think if you're upper 80s, that's pretty good. But anyway, but you're right, Bacon, about the starting car. I would always start. I still remember in Gran Turismo, the Civic Del Sol. That was always that was always the one. Dude, that's a light, fun to drive car, Jose. Trust me, fun to drive.
I assure you could not fit in a Civic Del Sol in real life.
I would, if I fit in my 1994 Galaxy Purple Honda Civic DX,
and you look like a freaking clown at the circus, bud, in a little car.
Putting his head out the sunroof.
Yeah.
Speed, by the way. Anyway, I can't wait to jump in after when I'm when I'm done with you guys right now. I have early access. I'm jumping in. I'm going to do some angry Forza racing. I might even stream some angry Forza racing.
You should, but I'll check it out.
And let's move on to another one. I'll throw this over to Jose, also from Shinobi. He gathered up some of the Assassin's Creed Mirage reviews. PSU gave it a 9, Tech Raptor 8.5, Gaming Trend 8.5, IGN gave another 8, couldn't give one to Starfield, Easy Allies 8, Game Informer 8, Destructoid 7.5, Shack News 7, Video Gamer 7, 6 Axis 7, GameSpot 6, VG 24/7 4 out of 5, Eurogamer 4 out of 5, Games Radar 4 out of 5, Metacritic 77, Open Critic 76. Jose, are you getting this, by the way, day one?
No, but not on any like moral grounds or like I'm opposed to it. I'm just at a place where like I know I don't have time for everything, and I will buy these eventually. Like I can't wait to play Mirage, even despite the like quote unquote lackluster reviews that people saying it's a fun game. Like it's just, is it mind blowing? No. Is it doing anything like crazy different, surprising? Nope. There's no aha moments, but it's a fun game. That's what I want, man. Like that's literally all I want. So no, I'm not picking it up right now because I'm still working through some other stuff. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but I'm happy to see Ubisoft kind of back in there where I wanted them to be, right? I'm happy to see them kind of back to their home, and I mean, I'll be honest with you. I know Deja Vu's in the chat going blah about Mirage, but again,
I'm pumped for this. I'm not gonna lie. Compared to the old games or the recent games, I'm pumped, and especially listening to Matt's review, Mr. Matty. Shout out to Mr. Matty on Defining Duke today. I was listening. He was complaining about how it went too far back to being like those old original games. I was like, this sounds exactly what I want. Exactly.
Do you know what the total playing time is? I was curious about that.
It was only like 17 hours
Yeah.
to like get everything or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, I'll probably wait for
Or
a
it's like a
sale, maybe
DLC.
Christmas.
yeah,
We'll
and
see.
he said, wait, if it's 30, he's like, by all means, if this sounds good to you, wait for it to be dropped on 30. And I'm gonna
Oh,
be
you
buying
know
this.
it will be. Absolutely.
and I have to say, as much as we trash some of these AC games, like Jose, I realized I've beaten every mainline Assassin's Creed game that's ever come out, including that one that was just on 360 that eventually came over, the one that launched with AC Black Flag, and then there's the one, remember, on 360 that was with when you played as a, what are the opposite of the freaking assassins? What are the bad guys called?
I want to say Unity, but that's kind of thinking it's
anyway, I've played them all.
Yeah.
And shout out to Assassin's Creed. Jose and I will be playing it. Bacon, I don't think he's completed, right? Even
No,
Which one?
why are you against Mirage, Bacon? I have to ask you.
I'm a fan of the new Assassin's Creed games. I cannot stand stealth games.
Oh yeah, he hates.
I can
stealth.
handle.
Oh,
I
he
can
would hate
handle
this.
stealth.
This is like
segments.
all stealth
Yes.
from what I heard from his. Yeah, this is.
I tried the original Assassin's Creed, and I think I tried the second one, and I'm just like, no.
All right.
I do not like stealth. I hate
Moving
listening to
on to
conversations. I hate that. So
Fun
I'm
story.
the complete
Number
opposite
8.
of you two.
Number 8. I just wanted to shout this out because I thought it was hilarious. Starfield Insanity is what I titled this one. And this is right, coming from Insider Gaming from Grant Taylor Hill. One Starfield player has scanned every single planet possible. That's right. Doom Zero, the username on Reddit, shared that they've scanned every single planet in every unique system in Starfield for a total of 1,695 planets. And I don't mean just he scanned them. He fully scanned him, and this bizarre and probably insanity inducing goal was completed around 180 hours according to Doom Zero, and it took the character to level 130. And he stressed that outside of scanning, he has just 20 hours played of the actual game. And if you look at the screenshot, he's got all the, because I remember this, if you fully scan a planet, you get this little data disk, and he's just got them all piled up in his ship. With and guys, think about doing that. Did any of you actually fully scan one planet? No. And supposedly, like, thank you, Jose, Jose's got the picture.
That dude,
180 hours, you guys, and actually
That's
only
insane.
20 of actually playing the game. Anyway, so scanning the planets, for those of you who haven't played Starfield yet, basically there's like 3 or 4 fauna, and what's the other one?
No, dude, some have like 6 or 7.
So plants and animals, you have to scan them a certain amount of times. Then it's only some certain animals. I didn't even learn this. You're like, where's this other one I'm missing? Some only spawn by like water, or there were some
in the
water, or in the water, or some
on Neon. It's in the water. I learned
when like there's a dead animal and they eat dead animals. Like there were some that would only come out in certain situations, certain plants. So if he did that, that's insane. But I'm thinking there was also another way that if you found a certain building, you could download the data from a building, and that could save you some.
There's a tower on every planet, right?
But still, 1,600 planets.
That dude needs to touch grass.
I literally feel like this is something your brother would do, Dan. Like I feel like Pony would be like, I didn't even play the game. I just did all the flora and fauna. I feel like that's what Pony would do.
Pony's lifetime goal was to get through clear every cave in Oblivion, and that means going in, killing everything, and making sure it was clear. And I don't know if he's ever done it, to be honest, you guys. He's still working on it to this day. So shout out to, what was his name again, to Doom Zero for his incredible accomplishment in Starfield. I mean, Deja Vu's got to know about this one. So last quick and fun news story, guys, coming to Game Pass for, what is this, the October 2023, and available now on PC as well. Gotham Knights, and I gotta say, Jose, playing it on PC at 60
So good.
FPS. Actually, I'm getting over that.
Dude.
It's so smooth, Jose.
I just want to be on
I'll
record
talk
that I
about
told you this was a good game, dude.
You
A
did.
year ago.
I
did.
gotta
You did.
give
A year
Jose
ago,
credit.
and you made fun of my ass.
Great story. I really, and
Can't
you
wait
know, I
to
really
talk about it.
appreciated, Jose, was the camaraderie and the relationships between the Knights. That's what
Yeah.
I really good. Sorry. So Jose already knows. Everybody go play Gotham Knights. It is
Everybody
worth
go
time.
play. Be a Batgirl.
Yes.
Dick Grayson all the way, Nightwing all the way. The Lamplighters
like him.
League on cloud, PC, and Series X and S. And I gotta say, Cog was really talking this up today on Defining Duke. He said it starts off a little slow, but then when it picked up, and he is in love with this game. It is a turn-based kind of stealthy game. Shout out to Lamplighters League. Coming soon, Warhammer 40K Darktide to cloud and Xbox Series X and S. Forza Motorsport is coming to cloud, PC, Xbox Series consoles on October 10th. Cannot wait to play that. From space, cloud, console, PC. This looks kind of cute. Maybe I'll play this with Grayson. 4-player co-op shooter. Like a Dragon, Ishin is coming to cloud. Dude, there's so many games. Console, PC, October 17th. Completely forgot about this. And in case you missed it, Phoenix Wright, guys, I'm going to tell you, I downloaded Phoenix Wright because I always see videos.
Hogue always talks about Reddit.
Who?
And Travis.
Yeah, and then who else? Have you ever got what's his name on YouTube? I'll have to look him up. He always puts in the objection. There's always that objections, the little meme that pops up. So I'm interested. I'm gonna try Bacon to play a Japanese story game. I know this is definitely not one that you're gonna play. And I also read it's like 60 hours to complete this. So who knows? And then let's say what's leaving October 15th. So you have about 10 days to play these games on Game Pass. Evil on cloud, console, PC. Overwhelm, Shenzhen IO, The Legend of Tianding, Trek to Yomi. I did like Trek to Yomi. Shout out, that I do think is worth time. And Jose played Turn Up Boy Commits Tax Evasion. Guys, those are the games coming to Game Pass. We already know our shout out is to Forza Motorsport. Boys, let's jump into what have we been playing and or watching. Who wants to go first? I've got a lot too, by the way. Jose, why don't you go? Because you probably haven't been playing much, have you? Just been
No,
playing
I have been able to play this week because like I said, work has been rough, and I was like, I'm going home and I'm playing games because it's my happy place. I rolled credits on Starfield, which is awesome. And I know one of these days, probably we need to give it a little more time. We'll do a spoiler cast. I would love to get some friends on for that, whether that's Kennedy or Ains, or if Joe or Kyle want to join that.
Now you understand why we couldn't talk about the ending, right, Jose?
I do. And I would love to chat with you guys about that, maybe offline or when we're playing and stuff. Yeah. I have one tiny downside. I got the bug that I couldn't finish Andreja's partner line. Like, so what happens is I get the thing where she says, I want to talk to you. I talk to her and she says, I want to just a special thing. I want you to go to the Shoza 2 planet in the system. I finish that conversation. And then as soon as I do, no pop-up shows up in like it doesn't show up in my mission log anymore. And I tried so many things. I have literally spent about 4.5 hours trying different things, replaying things, picking a different partner and doing missions with them, then going back, reloading saves. None of them work. And I've looked it up. It's like a legitimate bug that users are having. So
keep a save file.
I did. So I wanted to start New Game Plus, but I don't because I really want to do that and I really want that achievement. And so I'm going to have to wait until that gets fixed in a patch. Then I'll go do that and do New Game Plus. But again, that's honestly in the grand scheme, that's a very small thing. I really have loved everything about it. Excited to talk about the spoiler stuff. Phenomenal game. Like still my game of the year. Even though like I think Hogwarts is definitely a pretty close contender, I still think it's my game of the year. The other ones, I started Liza P. Really liking Liza P. Like this is the first Soulsborne game where I really feel like it clicks in my mind. Because even Elden Ring, I played as a mage, right? So I didn't really do a lot of the parrying. I didn't do a ton of dodging because I was a ranged guy. So I didn't get that full experience. I really get it in this one, and it's going really well. And I think I'm actually close to beating the game already, dude. It's only been like 3 or 4 days. I don't know how long the game is. Bacon, did you finish it?
Oh, no.
I don't think it's that long. I don't,
because I think I'm in the last.
I got caught up on the bishop. The bishop was the hard one, and then the nerf came, and I got through him on the second try after the nerf. and then I moved into that outdoor land. You know, the bishop, the guy where you beat his primary, the bug, and then came out on his tentacle.
He has the second form,
Yeah, and then after that, I got into that world, and I just can't get through that world because they made the actual mobs harder and then nerf the bosses, so I'm having trouble getting through.
Have you gotten to that next boss though? That one gave me some trouble because it's actually like 4 bosses at the same time.
Can I ask you a quick question about Liza P? Is it like more like Sekiro where leveling isn't as important, you just go, or is this more like Elder, you have to grind and level up, or is it like somewhere in the middle?
So I have not really done much grinding, to be honest with you, but again, it's clicked enough to me that I really haven't a lot of lost of my souls. They're not called souls in this, it's called ergo, but I mean, I think I probably only lost about 10,000 total over the course of the game. I mean, now my levels cost like 6,000 or something like that, so it's really not that much. But it's definitely one of those where you get to control your build, whether you want to be like really dexterous or really strong. I've gotten a bunch of different weapons, and I've even gotten some really like strong, like that's what I thought I'd love, and I don't. I actually really like the quick weapons. I like the dex stuff. So it's cool, man. And I think what I also really love is it's more of a story than I've ever experienced in a Soulsborne game. Story, I like the story and I like the characters and stuff. So definitely digging that. I'll probably finish that by next week. And then I've continued to watch Gotham Knights on Max, even though I know there's not a second season, but I got to ride it out, support them. And I also watched last week Meg 2 on Max, which I mean, it was not amazing, but it was a fun time. I guess that's what I'll say. It was a fun time. Like you have to basically it's one of those movies you have to throw like science logic out the window. Like literally for hundreds of years, we haven't been able to get to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. The first movie is about like we barely get down there and there's this monster down there. Second movie basically is like, nope, we've conquered it and we're like terraforming it. And I was like, whoa, that's a big jump to make. But you know, it's a fun, silly action movie. Keeps a lot of the same cast. There's a decent-ish twist towards the end, but it was cool, man. But definitely fun, just like visual movie of just like giant shark messing stuff up, man. So other than that, man, just trying to get through Liza P so that Alan Wake is right around the corner. And if I have time, I would like to squeeze in Sea of Stars. I'm going to try to do that on my Ally though, because I think that's the perfect thing for it. So
speaking of Sea of Stars, I'll pick up here. Bacon. We forgot to mention last week, Bacon and I completed Redfall. We did it, boys. Yes, we beat Redfall. Caramba. We've already said this. Redfall needed more time. It needed a little bit more vision, and it needed better enemy AI. Other than that, I have to say, Bacon, I had fun playing with him. We had moments of fun. The strengths of the game, definitely the setting. Very, very cool setting. Mm-hmm. Cool enemies with the vampires. Solid shooting mechanics. It had a great foundation, but that was about it. I did escape Jose with 685 gamer score on it. I didn't have a random number. I planned it perfectly.
Oh, you dog. Good for you, man.
So I was pretty happy about that. If it was a good game, I probably would have gone for the 1,000 and I would have required a couple more playthroughs, but definitely not happening. Bacon, any quick thoughts about Redfall before I tell you my other games?
What about the bug where everyone was one shot when we were playing on hard?
Oh, yeah. So there were a few times where once I'd get into a co-op game, it would just put us down to easy. And so all the enemies would be level 1. And we were just like, it wasn't even fun. You just shoot them once and they're dead.
One shot.
We figured it out. Once you start a campaign mission, it would get back to the correct difficulty, and then we were dying on regular pretty hard there. I don't know if I had it in the regular or middle or one up, but
but my actual thoughts were there's no way this game's a 57. I'm sorry.
I agree.
The world alone should have netted it a 67, just off rip. It was a cool world, cool environment. Didn't care for the wave that was frozen there. I thought that looked kind of janky, but other than that, the doors floating, the blood everywhere, the
going
signs,
into the mines,
people hanging,
seeing the flashbacks.
The actual environment of Redfall, Massachusetts, was really cool. Yes, the shooting was fun. I think if it would have kept it as a single player game, it probably could have been better because I don't know if balancing enemy AI with single player would have been. As I didn't find the game difficult, and every time I die,
you died way more than me, baby.
To come pick me up, it's because I always press too fast and too hard. I don't ever stand back and kind of see how things are going. So I just go right in, guns blazing, and then I'm down.
Like wild card.
Hey Dan, Dan, I'm down. I'm over here. I'm down. He's over there looting somewhere.
No.
But there's no way
Dan's
this
just
game
playing.
is a,
He's down again.
there's no way this game's a 57. I'm sorry. I mean, it's not a 75, but it's definitely not a 57.
I agree. It should
I'm
be
glad
like
I
upper
played it, and I
60s.
like to support all of Xbox
We
devs,
did it.
so it was fun.
I will say I did like the slide too, and some of the powers. I did it. I enjoyed my character.
Who'd you both play as, by the way?
What was
played
my
as the
guy?
guy with
Bacon?
the
I was the yellow
raven.
guy. The Indian
Yeah, I
guy.
was you, Bacon. And who are you,
Yeah.
Dan? Not the sniper.
He's the guy
his
that can
name.
bounce all over the place.
The other guy, the only other guy, and I had like
Remy, right?
Yeah, Remy. And then I had like this. I had a great grenade,
The
this
light
chain
grenade,
grenade that
yeah.
was dominant. And then I had his super was if you put the stake down and then like would shut out a black light. Really cool. Like I actually really enjoyed my character. It was perfect for me. So I liked there again. There was some.
There was a lot
solid
there,
stuff
man.
there.
It was
Yeah, there
good.
was.
Yeah. no.
Anyway, we don't talk about Redfall anymore, but Bacon and I did it. The other one that I played and Bacon saw me, I did beat Bramble, the Mountain
Oh,
King,
yeah.
correct? Everybody, this is a game you need to play. If you like Inside, if you like Limbo, if you like Planet of Lana, Somerville, you need to play this game. Very
So good.
cool. It's basically about these kids in what country is it? Are they Dutch or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
And
shoes.
about like little child fairy tales, nightmares. Very cool game.
It turned in a hurry, didn't it?
Yeah, and so I'll just say I probably would have gone for the 1,000 bacon, but the last achievement I need to get, which would be just a pain in the butt, is you can't die. And I died. I died in
yeah.
this game. And there are times where like it's of course like Limbo Inside, you just have to figure out and like I don't want to talk too much more about it. It is definitely worth your time,
So good.
especially
Thank you.
because it's on Game Pass and it's a quick game to get through.
Like 5 hours, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
something like that. It's totally worth it.
It's really good.
Everybody play Bramble.
I've downloaded it. I might
It's gonna
squeeze that
be
in.
on one of my probably indie games of the year.
Yep.
I don't know if I liked it. I think I liked the gameplay more in it, Bacon, but I think I liked Planet of Lana overall as a package more.
It
Heartbreaking.
wasn't as disturbing. Planet Lana wasn't. I felt Bramble was disturbing. At
Yeah,
times.
no, it for sure was. I just like the art style of Planet of Lana too, and then your companion.
Joe would
I think-
love it. He
I'm
loves
sure he
that.
would.
spooky
Yeah, it's a. Oh,
Halloween
by the way,
stuff, yeah.
speaking spooky game, there you go. The perfect spooky
God.
game for the
Oh,
spooky
you would- I
season.
I got Alan Wake
Kills
is
that
also
game.
my
Well, I
spooky
know. In
game.
addition to Alan Wake, of
Yeah, I
course,
know.
obviously. And then the other game, Jose mentioned it. He said he wants to play it. I started Sea of Stars.
Thoughts?
If you are a fan of SNES typical JRPGs, you're gonna love this. What I will say though, Jose, the opening was a little too slow. Like it
Yep.
was like a
I guess you can derelict my balls,
my balls.
Capitan.
And I can derelict my own balls. Thank you very much. Once I got past the opening, I'm more involved, engaged, and I appreciate it. But at the same time, there's a lot of dialogue, and at first I was like,
A lot
"Oh
of
gosh,
reading.
can we move on?"
How long are you? How far are you
It's
into
all
it?
reading.
How many hours?
I don't know, maybe 2
Yeah.
hour and a
Bacon,
half.
did you start too?
Hour and a half.
Yeah, I'm about 2 hours.
Okay.
And so I got the first achievement. Bacon, did you defeat the first boss? I'm past that.
I got it. 2 achievements. I don't know remember
then
what they
you're probably
were,
ahead of
but
me. So I like it and I'm going to keep playing it, but you have to be in a certain mindset for this one, Jose. It's definitely a traditional JRPG you're going to read. I do like the character development between your party. I actually really do appreciate, like, there's this one guy you pick up right at the beginning that I'm glad he's there. But I'm going to keep playing, but this is kind of going to be like
Is it a good ally for me? Like a
yes,
thing to play on the side,
absolutely.
right?
Oh,
I
That's what
almost
thought.
wish
That's what
I was
thought.
almost playing this on the Switch, to be
Okay.
honest. So yeah, you'll love it on the Ally. And then yeah, I'm gonna start Forza tonight. So only other thing is what I've been watching. I mentioned to you I was watching The Flash. I went back and watched Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition, and I gotta say that
Good movie.
it's a good movie, dude. And I tweeted Greg Miller, and he retweeted my tweet again. Batman v Superman Ultimate
It's
Edition
dope.
was a good movie, and I remember I didn't like it at first, or that whole Zack Snyder universe, because it was very dark and gritty. But now, after so many years of in the Marvel, here's a joke here, let's be funny and goofy, and so much bad green screen the whole time, I actually appreciate the Snyder universe a lot more because of that. It is such a different feel and vibe and contrast. And then I was like, I remember liking at the time when it launched, Justice League, and then I was like, so I went and watched that right afterwards. I was like, this movie sucks, and I totally understand why everyone hated it, because it didn't fit at all along or feel the same as what Batman v Superman was building up. And then watching the Snyder cut, I started that again, and I did watch the Snyder cut Justice League when that came out. But I'm like, this feels like the same universe, and I really appreciate it. So I know everyone likes to hate on those. I gotta say, and I was one of them. I'm taking it back. I actually really appreciate what Zack Snyder was trying to do. He did have a vision, and I wish he could have fulfilled that vision.
Yeah.
And I wish people were a little bit more open and receptive to it, because I think if it was happening now, people would like it a lot more. But everyone was comparing it to
Marvel.
Exactly, the Marvel
Infinity War.
MCU and the stupid goofy, let's have a stupid comedic quirk writing in there, and like, now I appreciate this so much more, and I feel so bad, and I gotta shout it out, man. I want to go back and watch the original Superman. I remember I liked Man of Steel. I remember that got the feels out of me at some point. So like, I want to go back and watch those. So I gotta shout
Kevin
those
Costner
out.
dies.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, I got to give Zach. I remember I didn't understand it then. In my old age now, Jose is an old man. A few years past, I respect more of what he was trying to do, and I'm sorry I was a part of the problem. Zack Snyder, I'm sorry, you were onto something, and I should have given it more respect. And the MCU ruined everything, and now look where the MCU is now, you guys. It sucks. So Bacon,
I also saw Flash this week. I forgot to mention that too.
Oh yeah, cool. What did you think?
I mean, the CGI stuff was right.
Heck? What the heck, Jose?
But dude, I will tell you, like, I'm telling you, and this is to all our listeners too. If you like this, if you watch The Flash and you were like, there's something there, but this movie just didn't do it, go watch The Flash on CW, dude. I get that it's cheesy, and it is cheesy, but they do a really good job with the full story and the universe. They don't do that stupid time dome thing. That was dumb. They do it way better in the show. And it's cool, man. You like learn the origins of like the Reverse Flash, and there's another villain. Like, they do such a good job with the villain. So check it out, man. It was good. I still haven't finished it, but it's awesome.
I gotta shout out Luke Lord. Now I understand why he hated it that much, because after going back again, watching the Snyder stuff, I'm like, ooh, yep. What were they? But that's just I liked what's his name? Ezra? Is that his name? Ezra Miller?
Ezra Miller.
I liked his acting though as the Flash. I liked him as Barry and doing the different, especially the different Barrys. I thought he did a great job playing the two different.
Yeah, you almost forget that it's one actor.
Exactly. I was like, these are two different actors right now. So anyway, sorry, Bacon. I talked a lot. What have you been playing or watching?
I've been still working on Hogwarts. Still really love that game.
It's big though. It's a lot of game.
It is, and there's a lot of running around inside the school itself.
Are you still as high on
levels?
I
am still as high.
Better than Starfield right now.
It's right there.
All right.
It's going to be a game time decision.
It is. That is a fantastic game. And having said that, I've played like 16 straight hours of Gotham Knights. It has been absurd.
So good.
How much I am playing Gotham Knights. That thing runs flawlessly on my PC. I get a little bit of screen tearing occasionally, but it doesn't stutter. It traversal now that I can glide around after I come out of the drone. I can glide places. Batgirl is the best. I tried your guy Dan last night. I did not like him.
He's got his little thing. He's got the best. You guys are wrong.
Get out here with your Fortnite.
Batgirl is
fighter.
Yes, because I can lift up. I can gain elevation in mine. Screw off, you guys.
Her combat is so good, so fluid. I'm loving that game. I'm the whole Court of Owls, and just because I watched Gotham Knights, I am so digging the Court of Owls storyline and anything Court of Owls related. I'm fighting Freeze right now in his robot form, and it's kind of hard.
Oh yeah, it is hard.
So I don't know why I'm playing that as much as I am, but I'm just keep next mission. It is fantastic, and it feels so much like Spider-Man 2018. I can't even tell you. I got the feels with all the traversal. It's wild.
Bacon, because Arkham City is what Spider-Man felt like Arkham City. Like that's what you gotta.
Yeah, so I'm finding myself going, am I gonna try to get the 1,000 out of it? It's actually 1,300, I think, is the Achievos in Gotham Knights. So I'll probably just keep bashing away at that. And then I always need something to kind of decompress after I've been playing one game for a long time. I re-downloaded Dead Cells on PC because it's all new achievements
The rogue
as
stuff,
opposed to my Xbox one. So I'm just bashing through Dead Cells because it's an awesome game. And as far as what I'm watching, if you guys have Peacock, the show The Continental, which is the prequel to John Wick,
right?
it's really good, really good. So your Comcast, you should have Peacock anyway.
No,
Dan.
I think they took it away. It used to be free, but I think it's not free anymore.
I
I'm
still
pretty
have mine.
I
for
still
free.
got it.
I'm not
Yeah.
paying for
Maybe
it.
I do. I don't care.
Yeah, it's an app.
Guys, let's close the show like we always do with the best food we had this week. Jose, you already know I've got so many updates. So
Oh, God,
please
we get the banner
bring
ready.
up
Go
the
ahead.
clicker. Here we go.
There we
Update
go.
this
Clicker
week.
time.
I had 3 more breakfast burritos. Please add 3 more breakfast burritos. Please add. I needed to ask you about this, boys. Carne asada burritos.
Asada?
Do we have a spot for this or no? Jose,
No.
do we add this to the breakfast burritos or
No.
we just
No.
don't have it to
I
anything?
think
Dude,
we're
we don't
getting-
do that often enough.
I want to
Let's just
say
lump them.
We have to draw a line.
so. We're strictly going. I think it should be included, or do we change it to Burrito Express? Or do
Well, we technically go to different places. I go to Tacos Rapidos.
I know.
go
So
to
where
Burrito
would you
Express.
put your tacos rapidos?
But I get the bacon breakfast burrito. I would put it
Okay,
in
all right.
breakfast
We'll stick with
burritos.
breakfast burritos. Fine. I just want to say I had carne asada, delicious. And it might be my new standard: 1 breakfast, 1 carne asada. The other thing you need to add, Jose, we also had 2 large garlic knot. Did I have this last week? I can't remember.
No, you didn't.
2 large garlic knot pizzas. Of course. Are you sure? I thought I mentioned it was
I think you did.
$45.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you
Okay.
did.
So we don't have to add this, Jose. Don't add the pizzas because you said if it was Jets, it would have been more expensive if I remember correctly.
Oh, that's right. I did say that.
So we have 87 Popeyes chicken sandwiches. We're slowing down on that because I don't go as much. 44 breakfast burritos. I'd say about 40 of them by me. Only 3 Chipotle burritos. Shocking right there.
That's a new
Yeah.
ad for us, bud.
6 Big Macs, quarter pounder McCheeses, and 10 pizzas climbing
Oh.
up. Lost subscribers, but who cares? It's all about the food. Bacon, what was the best food you had this week?
Well, I need you to pull the ticker back up because I need to add a QPC to that. And we have
Gotcha.
Papa John's pizza, so I need to add 1 of each because their breadsticks are still superior at Papa John's. The best
the
food
is going to climb up these ranks real quick. among
Yes,
our
pizza
group.
moves in a hurry. Best food I had this week. Went and put brakes on Deja Vu's car, and he took us out to dinner. And we went to a place called the Lake House Tavern over
Yeah,
right by
It's good.
the library by Columbine. It's
Yep.
right there on the lake. They have fried chicken there. It's actually really, really good fried chicken. They have multiple spices. You can order basically the way you want. You get 4 pieces and whatever side. So it was actually super, super good. So if you guys are ever in that area and you want to stop by, it's definitely worth eating. And I think that's it. The good stuff I had this week. So
It's a good week. Good
been
week.
boring other than that.
Well, I get to also add to our total.
Ooh, got a Popeyes count.
Good shout out to Zach Morris last Friday, who stopped by Popeyes, popped me a sandwich for lunch last Friday, which was fantastic. And then also shout out to my dad on Sunday. We went to go see them, and he made steaks for us, which was just like nice because I don't eat a ton of a lot of red meat, not because I'm like against it, just because my wife doesn't eat it, so I don't need to buy a lot for me. But that was a nice little treat. And then on top of that, we had a couple of leftover steaks, and so tonight I made a Philly cheesesteak quesadilla for my family for dinner,
Quesadilla.
which was absolutely delicious, man. So chicken for my wife, beef or steak for me and the girls. Absolutely delicious, man. It's been a great week of food. Certainly looking forward to some home food and some like good food during we get to the fall season. It's gonna be great.
And real
Deja
quick,
vu.
be in the chat. Nothing's as good as John Wick, but it's a close second. So
What is Deja Vu talking about? He said breakfast tacos are better than burritos. Are
eat
you?
breakfast tacos.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills,
I
Jose.
agree.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
What the? Somebody boot this guy out of the party. Gentlemen, this has been the Nerd Chat episode. I don't even know, 127. My name is DaddyDWALLY. You can follow me at DaddyDWALLY across all social media. You can follow the show at the Nerd Chat Podcast on all social media. Thank you so much to our loyal viewers, Deja Vu and B, for being with us in the chat. Chipotle Bear, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter or X, Chipotle_bear. You can find me on Instagram at Chipotle Bear.
I mean, sorry, Threads.
I still use Threads. I posted our thing on it tonight. Chipotle Bear on there as well. Huge shout out to everybody that joined us live, and also for anybody that watches or listens to the show later. We appreciate you joining us. Always feel free to drop a comment Always feel free to ask questions. Big Box, sir, thank you for showing back up, man. We missed you. And would love to hear soon from some of our other friends like JBiz as he finishes his volleyball season. But always don't be afraid to shout out, guys. Thanks again for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much, Big Box. And XbacongamN, where can people find you?
Before I provide all that, I want to give a shout out to Deja Vu on Sunday. He is getting married to his lovely fiance Casey.
That's this Sunday? Are you
It
sure?
is
I'm still
this
waiting for my invite.
Sunday.
What?
He said he might have an opening. I told him he needs to give
What
you
is
enough
going on?
time for childcare.
I updated my address with him. What the heck?
Did you? Okay. I said some people are being flaky, so we might have a spot to squeeze him. But I told him, got to give him time. So shout out. It's going to be a fun weekend. And you can find me at XbacongamN across all your socials and still hanging out in them Twitter streets, fighting the good fight.
Shout out Deja Vu.
Some people call him the Batgirl of Twitter, just so you guys know.
Excited for you, brother. As always, newlyweds, see you online.
See you online.
See you online.
See you online.
Let me ask you something. When you come in on Monday and you're not feeling real well, does anyone ever say to you, sounds like someone has a case of the Mondays?
No. No, man. Shit, no, man. I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
The Nerd Chat, an Xbox podcast, is a podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, and the good old days. The show was created by Daniel Walensik, and you can follow him at DaddyDWALLY across all social media. The assistant to the co-host is Jose Martinez, and you can follow him at Chipotle_bear. The assistant to the co-host is Chance Siegel, and you can follow him at BubbleBoyN7. The intern to the assistant to the co-hosts is Jason Jarrett, and you can follow him at XbacongamN. You can also follow the show at The Nerd Chat across all social media. And if you'd like to find out more about the show, visit nerdchatmedia.com.